Alright, decided to break out the Kamado ceramic grill tonight. I'm making Middle Eastern inspired boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Been dry rubbed with paprika, curry powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, turmeric, and marjoram. And let them sit for a couple of hours in the fridge in a bag. Now I got them on the grill, and I've got my two sous chefs out here helping me. Got Nyla, and where is he? And Ringo. There he is. We'll see how things look in a little while. All right, things are coming out nicely. Give everything a little bit of a flip. See, the ceramic grill, you could actually close the lid. You're not really burning anything. You get a nice little sear on the outside, but it almost cooks like an oven when you close things up. Whatever's getting a little bit of a char, that's going to be fine. Rose likes it well done. It's not a big deal. With chicken, you can never really have it too done. Well, so far so good. Close a little bit. Actually, something I've learned along the way is to take a simple canola oil spray, and while you're cooking, while you're grilling, careful not to have any flare-ups, spray down with a little of the canola oil, and it'll keep things from drying out. A little trick I learned along the way. All right, we're going to close the lid. We're going to come back in a little while. All right, got things coming along at around 375, 380 degrees or so. So I think it's time now to flip again. Open it up. Let some of that smoke get out of the way. Now we already sprayed down one side with the canola oil. Now we're going to flip. And if it looks like some of the pieces are getting a little too well done, you can put them towards the end. And again, that's really not burnt. It's just got a nice little char on it. Obviously the center point is where we have most of the heat. Using mostly lumped charcoal mixed in with some charcoal briquettes. Not using any wood chips this time. Not really going for a smoky flavor. I'm going to get enough smoke just from the two different blends of charcoal that are in there. Now again, very carefully spray some canola oil on, making sure that I'm not really getting any flare-ups. It gives a flare-up for a second, but it's not doing anything to hurt the meat. And once you got everything nice and coated, you can go back and close the lid again. Now one of the tricks here, whenever you're doing chicken like this, or any kind of meat that's on a grill where you have them close together, you don't want them touching too much, because what happens is you end up steaming the meat. There's a lot of natural moistness in the chicken. You don't want to steam it, you want to grill it. And you also want to make sure that you have good airflow coming around all sides of the meat, because you want to make sure, especially with poultry, that it's cooked all the way through. Don't need any salmonella out here while I'm grilling. Moving things around a little, just to make sure I got good airflow. And these ceramic grills, man, they really, really cook thoroughly, and they cook very evenly, even when you close the lid. All right, time to close up. Now, something else you can do, if you really wanted to get more of that smoky flavor into the meat, whether you had wood chips in here, or if you're just using the smokiness that's coming off of the lumped charcoal and the briquettes, you can actually take, if I can find it through all the smoke, the little lever that closes things down, and you can close the top. Now, when you do this, keeping the vent open on the bottom allows air to get in. But now what you're doing is you're cutting off the flow of the smoke from getting out. It's also going to keep the heat in there. We went from 375 to a little over 400 degrees in just a few seconds. So if you really want to impart some more of that smoky flavor, you could definitely do that by closing the top vent, which keeps a lot of the heat and smoke inside. Me, I don't like to do it for too long, especially with a small grill like this, because you're going to get a very bitter flavor on the meat. And opening up the top again will vent out some of that excess smoke. Spring a little more oil. Keeps everything moist. Again, be careful for flare-ups. Now I want to take the tongs. I want to turn everything over again. Boneless, skinless chicken thighs cook very, very quickly. It's almost like the spatchcock method, where you're laying the meat out flat and deboning it. And because there is no skin on it, it is going to cook up pretty quickly. So be mindful of that. You know, I do have an electric thermometer that I can stick into the meat if necessary. You always want to make sure that you're cooking to 165 degrees of an internal temperature when it comes to poultry. Very important. So I think another couple more minutes and we're going to be done. All right, just about ready to start pulling everything off. Things are coming along nicely. All right, as you can see, the meat comes out, a nice little char on it, but it's not burned. It's really from the seasoning and the spices on there that kind of darken it up a little bit. As you can see, it's really not burned. And then again, with poultry, you got to make sure it's cooked all the way through. And in a second, I'm going to carve it up. Now, poultry, unlike cuts of beef or pork or anything like that, where you have to let it sit for a little while, because otherwise the juices are going to start running out. That's not the case with poultry. It's not as wet of a meat. In fact, because it's even more porous, a lot of times the juices will run out a lot faster than it would with any other type of other cut of meat. So the idea is you don't want to let this sit for too long. You want to start cutting it, and then you want to serve it. There it goes. Now when you carve, you want to go against the bias. So it's really simple. Okay, small little pieces like this. And as you can see, when you get close, it is cooked all the way through, and it's still retaining its moisture. It's really important to cut it quickly and get ready to serve. Now, unlike different types of poultry that you may put in the oven, where it stays a little more moist, there's more of a humidity level in there, when you're cooking off of a grill, it's going to kind of string up a little on you, but that's okay, as long as it's cooked all the way through. And the fact that we're using boneless as well as skinless, it doesn't have that fat that's going to baste it, but it's still going to come out really, really good. In fact, I'm starting to learn that I'm preferring it now without the skin. Don't need the extra fat, and it comes out just the same. So again, we did this using Middle Eastern spices, curry, paprika, garlic, salt, pepper, marjoram, and just dusted them lightly, let them marinate in a bag for a couple of hours. You don't have to go crazy. These Middle Eastern spices generally have a tendency to be very overpowering, so you want to use them sparingly. And what I also did first is, after I got done washing the chicken down, I patted it dry and then put it in the bag and added olive oil into it first. Mix the olive oil around, totally coat the chicken as best as possible, and then put your spices in. The spices will actually adhere to the chicken a lot better. And as you can see, it's cooked all the way through. Okay, well, there you have it. Middle Eastern based chicken that was dry rubbed. Let it sit in the fridge for a couple of hours. Done on the Kamado grill with lump charcoal as well as charcoal briquettes, and came out great. That's about it, guys. I'm probably going to start doing some more videos. It's a lot easier to do it like this rather than trying to explain it in text all the time. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas, please feel free to reach out, send me a Facebook message. Looking to maybe possibly do a cooking show. I've been getting a lot of requests to do that. I'm not a professional. I wasn't classically trained. I'll never be on Top Chef. I'm just a guy that learned through trial and error in his backyard. I have a lot of fun doing it. If you have any comments, any questions, please feel free to throw me a message. I'll see what I can do. All right, guys. Have a great night. Talk to you soon.